from Tucson, Arizona. He's owner of Daimyo, which is one of the best jiu-jitsu gyms at this point in the state, in the country. He's here to talk about the last word standing. What's up, brother? How was open mat?
Open Mouth was amazing. You were in there.
Well, I'm scared of you now at this point, brother.
Just
After that one time, I went home telling my dad, I'm like, I've never been beat up that bad before.
I was kind to you. I was very kind to you.
Okay, I don't believe that one, bro. I ain't never felt so much pressure in my life.
Did I go for submissions? No.
Yeah, but
Just pressure.
you crushed my
Just
rib
pressure.
cage.
Things happen. Life's a risk, carnal.
Hey, no, that was fun, especially after you said round 2. I was like, oh crap,
No, it's
can't
good.
deny
man.
that
Yeah.
one.
No, I enjoy rolling differently. You know, like I think like as a big guy, it's too easy for me to it's too easy for me to go for submissions and not give credit to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
Does that make sense? So for me, I'd rather I like flowing, I like rolling, I like switching positions, pressure passing, sweeps and all that stuff. I think that way people can be like, oh, this is what jiu-jitsu feels like or it's supposed to feel like versus like, being the big guy and just smashing into like
yeah.
arm bars, stuff like that. So
Yeah, but you think about, I remember watching a podcast with you, and you talked about when you first started, the main difference between you guys and the guys that were coming in, they made it a scrap.
right. Yeah. There's as you get older, you also tend to want to like take control of the match a
Yeah,
little bit quicker, right? There are some roles that are dangerous for you, like as I'm approaching like late 40s, and I can say 50 from here. So, um, you know, you rolling with you could potentially be dangerous. Like you're young, you're athletic, you're hip switch, and you're passing. So I'm gonna tie you up, and then I'm gonna sweep you, and then just control the submission, control
yeah,
the position from there. But yeah, back in the day, man. It was I'd done a lot of competitions and I've won a lot of tournaments and titles and stuff, but I'd never been in a fight in jiu-jitsu till I roll with your dad, till I roll with Ed Carrasco and Mike Romero and those guys where, I'm getting headbutted, I'm getting elbowed, I'm getting thrown against, the wall or something like that. And it's just that changed completely my perspective as to what a fight in jiu-jitsu was. That just the intensity was brought up a lot more, right? And then also, I think that back in the day, one of the things that annoyed me was you would be going for you if you roll with somebody and you caught somebody in a submission, then it was like, oh well, you caught me because I was going for
uh,
this, so I was going for that, and
yeah,
stuff
like
like that.
BS at that point.
Yeah, and people tend to do that, man. So I got this from Tito Ortiz, and he did an interview where we talked about where he didn't go for submissions, like if people were giving him arm bars just to try to get out of submission, he'd be like, no, you know. And I switched my style after that, and again I wanted, because I love some jiu-jitsu so much, I wanted people to experience what jiu-jitsu was like to the best of my abilities, um, so on the ego side, I wanted people to have the worst experience rolling with me,
Yeah,
So I wanted people to, if we were competing, I wanted them to like never want to roll with me again, And number two, I wanted to, um, I didn't want to give them that exit, of like, oh well, yeah, I roll with Manny, but he caught me in the soundbar, but I was doing this one thing, and that's what happened, Versus like now, it was the worst experience of my life,
yeah.
and that's kind of what I started going towards early in my career. Just I didn't go for submissions, probably blue and purple,
Oh, you're just learning at that point, just learning how to keep control of the match.
just controlling the matches, transitions, sweeps, improving my guard. Um, just there was so much that I felt like I was falling behind in technique, versus what what world class athletes were doing. So there was a lot of catching up that I had to do.
Yeah. Well, I had a terrible experience rolling with you, but it was one of the best
Thank
learning
you,
experience so far.
thank you.
You know,
Yeah.
you talk about the OG gym,
Hmm.
the OG group, and everything. And what people might not know, the origin of the last word standing comes from Nick Stone. Talk
Yeah,
about,
man.
yeah, go for it. Talk,
So Nick Stone, beautiful soul, great friend of ours, great friend of everybody in the jiu-jitsu community. Um, he he would make you feel like you were the most important person in the room every time you talk to him. And he passed away he passed away a few years ago from battle with cancer. But when he was going through it, we were trying to figure out what we could do as a community, as an academy, to help him out with his bills. You know, as we all know, like a wonderful insurance system, eventually they won't cover certain things. Like for example, Nick Stone had to go to Chicago for
Yeah.
treatment. You know, um, and not all of it was covered by insurance. So we decided, it's like, hey, we're gonna do a tournament to help him cover the bills, and that's what we did. So my wife and I, we put a tournament together at the academy, and at first it was just a tournament, and it was just super fights. It wasn't brackets or anything like that. It was just super fights, and to create an incentive, we decided to pay purses to the winners, and we had a number one, because people wanted to support Nick. We had a huge response from the Tucson community, but then other people started hitting me up, and they liked the way that I ran the event. They liked the way that we treated them as athletes, even though it was just like just the first one or the second one. So the first three last warrior standings, by the second one, I think we had created the name, but the first three last warrior standings were purely just to help him cover the bills, and try to give him you know, um, an opportunity to be relaxed, not have to worry about finances, and just focus on fighting the disease. And after he passed away, we took a break. There wasn't really, all of us were heartbroken, and he left a big gap in everybody's life, But what uh what happened was, again, it's we started getting hit by other instructors from different academies here in Tucson. I've always been blessed to have a really good reputation with those guys. Just not getting involved in politics, not having an open door at our academy, or even just treating people like decent human beings that they are. Regardless of what patch is on their gym. Which is what jiu-jitsu should be all about. It should be this thing that unites us, not this thing that separates us, like politics,
Yeah,
or
it's
nationality, or whatever it is. It's like this
something
beautiful thing.
everyone can love doing together.
Yeah, man, it's something that everybody can love doing together, and I think there's a vulnerability to training jiu-jitsu where you're gonna cry, you're gonna bleed, you're gonna sweat, your body is gonna give, your mind is gonna break, and you have to be okay with all of that happening in a room, and who is in that room, being other students, instructors, coaches, because you're going to be very, very, very vulnerable, and your idea of self, it's going to crumble. And if you're in the right room, number one, it's going to feel safe for that to happen, and then number two, um, somebody's going to help you up, and they're going to help you gather your little pebble of greatness, and eventually that pebble grows, and that pebble grows, and then you have a boulder, and then you have a statue, and then you have a mausoleum, but it starts with that little grain of hey, I'm not believing in myself very much right now based on what just happened to me. But if you're in the right room, man, you're growing.
Yeah,
So
you're always gonna be tapping when you start off too,
you're
man.
always going to be tapping. And even right now, man, like if you're the best guy in the room, um, without a little bit of fear of what this guys could potentially catch you in a submission or a sweep, or really push you, condition wise, I feel that you're in the wrong room,
Yeah.
or you're not putting yourself in other rooms, because eventually, you could be the best guy in your room, but then take some trips to other academies, take some trips,
Go find someone better.
go find someone better, and then again, like, if you have a good reputation with other academies, they will have an open door for you to go train with them, like, I've had the pleasure of training with a lot of people here from Tucson. I've trained with Mike McGregor and a bunch of guys from Undisputed, and it's always been some guys from Peloton, guys from Philip, from the Irie, Matt Blank, and all those guys. So I've had the pleasure of sharing jujitsu with them, and sharing knowledge, and insight
Yeah.
into not only like growing as a person but growing as a competitor. And then as coaches, you're always trying to figure out how to be a better a better leader for your academy. So what best way to do it than to have access to those guys? But yeah, so going back to last where you're standing, it was like that reputation that people like what we did, and we said, okay, let's start pursuing this. So
And
we
but
had
this time was like a 3 year break, right?
yeah, we took a little bit of a break, man. Like I said, it was very hard for all of us to lose Nick, and just just the way he went, he had some issues where he ended up unresponsive for a while, and you didn't have that opportunity to have that closure of having that one last conversation with him. It all happened very suddenly. So, but yeah, we took a little bit of a break. I can't remember how much, but we, this goes back also to my competitive years. One of the things that I got away from kickboxing was that I was doing really good. I was fighting, adults at 16. I won a title, and there was this guy from Japan that came to our gym, and me and him had some really good rounds, and I admired what he had done. So I went and asked him. I said, "Hey, can you give me an honest assessment of my abilities, of what I'm doing in this kickboxing world at 16? Um, if I'm going to commit to something, I want to make sure that I have a good chance at growing something. I'm a young immigrant. I've been in the United States for 2.5 years. Barely speak the language. Family life is a chaos, and finances as a young immigrant are not the best. So if I'm giving myself to this thing, I want to know that I have a chance at creating something for myself and take care of my family." And his response was, I like what I see. I think you have it, uh, but you got to move."
Oh shit! So he's telling you to get out.
Yeah, he's like, "You got to move, man." And I'm 16, and I said, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "Nobody." And this is what broke my heart. He goes, "Nobody's looking for the next world champion in Tucson."
Oh dang.
Yeah. So, just went home, and I was very close to my mom. I was very much a protector of my mom, and I couldn't see myself leaving her. So my drive to continue to train and compete in kickboxing was pretty much over after that. But I'd wrestled in high school and stuff, and like everybody else, I'd seen the UFC, so it was just a matter of time before we found jiu-jitsu, and I started with that, and I started competing, and jiu-jitsu had grown to the point where there were like one or two tournaments in Arizona back
The
then.
old school, the
Yeah, yeah.
Gustavos.
No, not even
Oh, it's the
Gustavo.
desert.
Desert Quest.
Yes.
Desert Quest, man. And so we started doing Desert Quest, and it was something where you could start building your reputation as a competitor. But more than anything, it was also because there weren't that many tournaments. Gustavo, oh, not Gustavo. I'm sorry.
I think at max there was like
Roland,
4 a year.
yeah, Roland. He would have these tournaments, but they were like once every 4 months kind of deal.
Yeah.
And then also, like I said, like I was a teenager, parent. I had my first son with my wife at 19. So we were. She's back there. She doesn't
Yeah.
want to
Shout
be on
out Brenda.
camera.
Give her that applause, Sabi.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, she didn't want to be on
Yeah.
camera. But no, we were doing our best as as teenager parents, trying to put the family together and take care of our kids, and so my ability to pay for tournaments wasn't there. So, but or to compete as often as I wanted. But back then, you build your reputation on being the toughest role in the academy.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I just wanted to be the toughest role in the academy as a white belt, some blue belt. But yeah, then eventually, Gustavo came around with these tournaments that were ran a little bit better. I competed at the very first Gustavo tournament,
Oh,
inside Arizona
Desert View
Combat
or
Sports. No,
okay. Dang.
Arizona Combat
I'm,
Sports.
I'm I'm like 5 years behind or
No, no,
something.
no. The first one was inside Arizona Combat Sports. It was so hot, nobody warmed up. Like you were
Oh, dang.
just, yeah, you were just drinking water and trying to stay cool. and they were running 3 matches at the same time, one in the ring, one in a small mat area, and then like I think like another one over here. And
Jiu-jitsu guys today will never understand that
they'll
stuff.
never understand that, man. They'll never understand what it was like. I fought in the ring. This is Mark Lehman had brought his team from Vegas, Cobra Kai,
Yeah.
and yeah, man, that was those were the early days of competition, but we wanted to do it better, like I said, like I think one of my biggest issues with jiu-jitsu the way it is, which is it's fine, there'll always be a room for a tournament. I think there's something so romantic about a tournament of of being lonely in the bullpen, getting called to the mat, and then just slowly one by one, you're chopping away at your bracket, chopping away on your bracket, and at the end, it's you and 4 dudes on the podium.
Yeah.
So, but from the perspective of building a brand, and from the perspective of of the audience having a comfortable experience, most tournament promoters don't care enough about that audience experience or
Yeah,
about that
it's a
content.
little all over the place. If people have never been to a jiu-jitsu gym, there's hardly any space sometimes, and it's a hard to see anything because you got people crowding the mats.
You got people crowding the mats. You have people yelling for the match that is happening next to your match.
Yeah.
So like if you told me you were competing, I would say I didn't know you were competing. There's 12 matches happening at the same time. There's 2 bullpens, and there's just chaos.
Controlled or not even controlled chaos,
Is
just
yeah,
chaos at
it's
that
you're
point.
doing your best in a tournament setting, right? And then, like I said, everybody's standing up, but there's no proper sitting. There's no like the audience. It's a byproduct of what's happening on the mats. So we wanted to change that with Last Warrior Standing. I said let's create something where people can come and create a brand. We give them a nice, comfortable area to warm up, to be by themselves with their team. We give them a, a very close, approximate time for them to know where their matches are going to go, and we give them a walkout song. And I think the most important thing is not to be confrontational with other events, but I think the venue that you're going to hold these events is very important. And I'm not trying to throw mats on the grass, I'm not trying to put yet another tournament inside a high school gym.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, we're spending a lot of money. Yes, we're starting in a basketball court, but even then, we try to dress it up a little bit, and then we move to the theater at Pima West.
Yeah. Oh, so you guys were at a basketball court for the first one?
Yeah, for the first couple
Yeah.
of like official
Where
ones.
where were those? Talk about the first
Pima
couple.
West.
Yeah.
Pima
okay.
West. Yeah, we got together with Edgar Soto from Pima West, or from Pima College, just in general. That dude is,
He's all over the place.
He's
yeah.
all over the place.
I mean, he
man.
was just at Jet right now being the keynote speaker, so he's busy.
That dude. I enjoy talking to him because he keeps me honest as far as my reading habits.
Yeah.
That dude has his headset on, and he's always listening to some sort of audiobook, or he's deep diving into some sort of like philosophy and stuff. So every time I talk to him, I I I know that I'm gonna get questioned as to like what I'm reading, what I'm understanding, and out of coaching, philosophy, and everything else.
Yes.
So
Side note: what do we got to do to get Edgar on one of the Last Warrior Standings cards? I was
dude,
telling him, man, you got to compete. You got
yeah.
to compete at least once.
We're trying to get him there, man. Like to be honest with Edgar, man, he is a very busy man. Like I feel Edgar is one of those guys that he has to give himself time of the day because his phone starts ringing. The second people know he's awake,
Yeah.
they're like, "Hey, I got a question for you. I got an idea. I got a proposition." And stuff like that. So he fights for every second, for every minute of his
Yeah.
day, So
That's why he's
well,
at the 6
yeah,
a.m. classes.
yeah, man. He goes to a 6 a.m. and he does really well, So we'll get him in a tournament, man. But Edgar was a very key uh, role, had a very important role in getting Last Warrior Standing towards the vision that we had, right? So we started in the basketball court of Pima West, and we set up the mats, and we had the banner, we had music, we had a DJ and stuff like that, and we had people in the locker rooms. Again, then we had the stances, and we did really well. But but I wanted the elegance of a theater. You
Yeah.
know, at the end of the day, like this is one of the reasons that I didn't put Last Warrior Standing at the Rialto, which I love the Rialto. Don't be mad at me. I love the Rialto for concerts. You throw a hardcore heavy metal thrash concert there,
Yeah.
I'm there. You have my heart, man. You know,
Yeah.
put Exodus in it, and I'm there. But as far as the venue itself, like it just wasn't what I was looking for, you know. And so we started at the theater for Pima West, the Proscenium, I think it's called, and that worked, man. I think that the thing was it's elegant, it was beautiful, but the next step in evolution was um, bringing it to the heart of downtown Tucson. You know,
Yeah.
I think that was like the next big goal that we had. You know, and just like everything, anything wonderful that happens in my life is it involves my wife and I jumping in a car, going for a drive, and just seeing what we find, man.
So
And
that's
we're
how it started. You were just driving down Tucson, then you saw the art museum right there.
yeah, so we just I mean we had an idea of what was there, you know, like as far as certain theaters and venues and stuff. But I'm gonna quote a friend of mine, Brian Gutierrez, you know, and his quote was this. He says, "I know that my plan is going to work because I presented my plan to my wife and she believed in it."
Oh,
You know,
nice.
so so we drove around and I'm thinking about this one, this venue, and she's like, "Nope, nope, nope." And we finally ended up at the Temple for the Music and the Arts, and we went in there, and she's like, "I like it. This is
Yeah.
gonna be it." And we had a meeting with him, and it's 600 seater. Yeah, it's 600 seats, and it's a beautiful, elegant venue with a ton of history. It's being remodeled right now, or it was remodeled, so the experience for the next one is going to be even better. But yeah, I think that was the home that we were looking for. You know,
Yeah.
it's beautiful, it's elegant. It has that ability for us to create something where the audience can have the experience that they're looking for. You know, meaning like for me, it's very important that it remains a family event where people can bring their kids and watch the show and present the martial arts aspect of jiu-jitsu, you know. But I think it's also a party,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh, it's hype. There's music
Yeah,
playing.
yeah,
You
yeah.
got people going all over the place. You have vendors.
We have
Yeah.
vendors, we have the bar. The bar is incredible. They have wine, they have this, they have that. It's very nice, and it's like I said, it's like for the people that want to treat it as a party. Um, it has that, man,
Yeah.
and I'm very excited about that. You know, but the what we guard very precious, what's very precious to us is the vibe. You know,
Yeah.
and that's very important to me. You know,
Yeah.
unfortunately, I think it might start with certain promoters. Nobody here local, you know, but it might start with some promoters that behave um, rather confrontational online, or they forget that they're representing to jiu-jitsu, you know, and that leads into probably one of the worst things that can happen, which is brawls in the audience.
Oh, have you had that happen yet, or?
Absolutely not. I
I
almost
was like,
dropped an F bomb there. Yeah, no,
okay.
no, absolutely not, man. And that's the thing where we're policing, and I don't want to take credit for that not happening at our show. I want to take credit for the vibe that we're creating. I want to take credit for the incredible jiu-jitsu community
Yeah.
and where it is right now. But I think it's also certain academies not being there because that's what they're known for.
Yeah.
You know,
You're just trying to make it a place where everyone can just enjoy the fights and learn some stuff too, because I want to start getting into this. The card's huge. How many fights do you have going?
I think we're at like 50, 54 fights, something like that. So we have everything. We have kids matches. We have the youth card. We have an undercard for white belt and blue belt, with some of the most highly decorated. The depth and talent just in the white and the blue.
Yeah.
It's something to brag about. And then we're gonna have our brown belt, our purple and brown card, and then we're gonna have the black belt
The
matches.
main
The
event of the
main
evening, man.
event, yeah, man.
Before we get in that, because we got one of our OG homies, Honey Badger, going at it.
Yes.
I want to know who are some white belts and blue belts we have to look out for. That way, the fans know who to exactly watch and show up for when they get their tickets.
Ah, man, they're so. I mean, their names are all over like our social media. Just go and the entire card is posted over there.
Yeah, 'cause I know
Um,
Patrick from Nogales Jiu-Jitsu is always a good match, man.
those guys bring it, man. There's Amos Tello and his academy. They had their first Last Warrior standing in the last one, and he has a deep roster of guys for this one. So I'm really excited to watch his jiu-jitsu being represented on the stage. Those guys bring it. For the people that don't remember Amos from back in the day, just very aggressive MMA fighter.
Yeah.
He's transitioned more towards like the coaching and grappling, and I think his attitude is going to rub off in his athletes. Um, I'm trying to think who else, man. Like you said, Nogales has their guys. Yeah, man. I think it's gonna be really really good. I'm trying to think like the names right now, but
There's so many
there's so
fighters.
many, man. And
Yeah.
I'm really excited of like the number of academies that are represented here on this card. Like we have, I never thought I would say this number, but we have like something like 14 Tucson academies. In
Going like when I had Freddie here on last week, we talked about there was 3 academies back in the day.
that was three, that was it, man. That was it. 3 academies in Tucson. Um, yeah, man, 16 academies. And I think in total we have over 30 academies in the card.
Oh dang.
Yeah.
So do you
So
have people so that way they know? Is it just people from Arizona or is it people from all over at this point?
it's people from all over at this point, man. I have people coming from Vegas. I have people coming from California. I have people coming from um, Texas, you know. Yeah, I mean the show is growing and people are the word is getting passed around, and I think that's another testament to the incredible crew that we have on the production side.
Yeah.
This is the production is probably one of the biggest nightmares that I have, but we have videographers and photographers, and we have different flavors and brands of the photography. We have people that are, people that are really good at what they do and making these guys look like superheroes,
Yeah.
which is what they are, or it's how you feel when you're on that stage performing, But yeah, man, we have over 20 something academies being represented, and it's so exciting. It's so exciting to see those guys. The J Pages crew, the Fluid crew come down. We have the 10 Planet crew from Phoenix come down. Um,
Yeah.
we have the Addis crew come down and represent. So, and I get really excited because I get to match them up, not only versus other Phoenix
Yeah.
guys, but I get to put them against some Tucson
You
guys
get to be
too.
Dana White for a little bit.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I love Dana, man. But no, I get to pit him up against some Tucson guys, and just get some beautiful magic out of those matches. And again, this is on my personal side. I think that jiu-jitsu wins either way, right? So whoever wins, jiu-jitsu wins.
Yeah.
But I think the most important thing is like for me when you have a Nogales kid that goes in there and trains in a small academy and doesn't have a lot of opportunities in life, and through his work ethic and dedication and showing up and changing his life and listening to his coach and doing what it takes, and beats a kid that trains at a 6,000 square feet facility with with a famous instructor or whatever, man. I think you rewrites what you think it's possible in your life.
Absolutely.
And that's what I'm excited about. I'm excited, obviously. Like I said, jiu-jitsu wins regardless of who wins, but I'm I'm uh, I- I'm excited for those changes. I'm excited for those changes in lives and those changes in mindsets. Um, and I'm excited for when people win, and I'm excited for when people lose. I'll go and talk to them, and just get them back on the horse. Whether it's competing at the very next tournament or get them to commit to the next last warrior standing and to just watching them grow as competitors and as humans, you know.
Yeah, like again, like playing Dana White, make sure they sign for the next contract, get them the next one.
Ah, man, I just want those guys to grow, man. I just
Yeah,
want those guys to have that experience. And like I said, like when I get excited is because all of our content is free, right? Obviously, we want our photographers to make money, so you can purchase those prints from those guys. But when I get excited is when I get a guy or a girl that starts going into the bigger leagues, you know.
yeah,
Um, as also as they advance in rank, obviously those opportunities will come, you know. But I get excited when what they use to get into those bigger shows is their video from our event, you know,
yeah.
the pictures from our event, you know, and
You're providing that platform to help them get to the next level.
yeah, man, just to get to that next level, you know, as we're growing, also to be to that next level, you know, because like the work never ends, you know. Yeah, the card is set. We're in the pre-production side right now, just make sure that all the lights and
Yeah, all the little
all
things.
the little things are coming out together, you know, are being put together professionally. But we're already thinking about the next show in March of next year, and we have some big names coming. You know,
Yeah,
we have some big names. We have some professional, world class jiu-jitsu fighters that are coming to our stage. You know, and that was another goal, man. Like for us, um, you know, that we spent. You know, I've been doing jiu-jitsu for 25 years. You know, training and competing and stuff. And I don't want to say that it gets old, but we drove to Phoenix. You
yeah,
know,
yep.
we drove to Phoenix. We drove to LA for those tournaments. You know, we've driven to Vegas for those tournaments. Um, through Last Warrior Standing, we wanted to reverse that role, and we wanted to put Tucson on the map, where it's we want those guys to come to
Yeah.
Tucson. You
Make
know,
Tucson the area for like a Pan Am's or something.
yeah, man.
Make it that big.
Make it big to where jiu-jitsu continues to grow. Make it big to where you know, academies continue to grow. I think like one of the biggest compliments that I've had is from one of the instructors where he's like, "Hey, anytime there's a last warrior standing, there is a direct response from the number of new students that I get." You
Yeah.
know, and that's
It goes back to what you're saying, building the community. Just by this one event, it builds everyone.
it builds everyone, man, and that's yeah, and so that's why we get so excited to do it. That's why we were willing to put the work to make it happen. We're willing to have those panic attacks in the middle of the night, you know.
Yeah.
But it's and that's why we're so protective of it too, man. So we want to make sure that we have the right people in the show, both competitors and instructors and academies, and we want to make sure that we keep the wrong people out of those things
Yeah.
because it's very easy to poison and it's very hard to get it back to where it's gonna be, you know. But yeah, man, I'm excited. The black belt card is incredible.
That's exactly where I want to go into
Yeah,
because I had Freddie here, and one thing he said about last word saying it makes you feel like you're a major leaguer, that you're a professional. It makes you feel like a superstar.
yeah.
Talk about what you guys do for the black belt division. That's so much different than any other tournament.
I think that one of the things that we do is by the time you're a black belt, you should have, and this guys on the cards and everybody that's competed, a very large selection of weapons in jiu-jitsu that I think it's sometimes restricted by the rules of wherever you're competing, right?
It's submission only too.
It's submission only too, man. So that's like the number one thing. So I think the set of rules that we came up with, it makes the matches fun. You know, it makes the matches fun. It gives the guys an ability to open up their game and start going for submissions that normally they can't go for in other venues or in other events. Um, we we don't do points. We'll do decision towards the end if there's no submission. But the fighter doesn't have to be worrying about whether this is a 2 point sweep or that's an advantage or
And this is for all divisions, right? Or
yeah,
just
this is for the entire card. You know, we want those guys to really go out there and pursue it, you know, pursue the submission. But that's one thing that the black belts love, you know, like you've spent your entire career, you know, learning to count points and advantages and stuff like that, which again, it's fine. It's romantic for me, the tournaments, but it's fun to have the last warrior standing where there's no there's no points, you know. So
Yeah.
you could just go for the kill, and if your guard gets past, that's okay. You have time to get it back, and then try to finish your match again, and not worry about like if this submission goes wrong, I end up in a bad position, and then I lose, you know. Um, so they like that. They like the time also, you know. They like the time.
Eight-minute
The
matches, right?
it's 8 minute matches, so it's 5 minute matches generally, but some of the black belts want more time to work, you know. So
Yeah.
we'll give them 8 minutes, um, 10 minutes for some
Yeah.
matches.
You think there'll ever be a time where there's no time limit?
Nah,
Yeah.
no, no. I think at the end of the day, you do have to set some sort of restriction, because then what ends up happening is they get really good at playing that game, right? So, for example, in certain events, you have um, 20-minute matches, right?
Yeah.
Where the first 10 minutes there's no points, right? So they just kind of
This is a
skate.
flow wrestling or
Yeah, they
flow
just
jiu-jitsu at that
yeah,
point.
they're just flowing, you know, trying to gas each other out, but nobody's putting themselves at risk, you know, because the second the time starts, boom, they know that now they're gonna score that point, or now they're gonna get that takedown, now they're gonna get that guard pass, you know.
Yeah.
So no, I think at the end of the day, you still have to have some sort of like time restriction, or we're gonna be here for 30, 40 minutes, you know.
Yeah.
So
Keep it like how
um,
Henzo used to say, sleeping in the crowd.
yeah, man. Yeah, we can't have that. So
Yeah.
the other thing that these guys do, man, is that we respect them as athletes. You know, like we pay the athletes their higher belts money to show, and then money to win. You know, so there's something for you to know that your time is appreciated. You know, and that you're valued as an athlete. You know, so from the second you get in, is that you get treated as a rock star. Like I said. Um, like Brenda is like the number one person that these guys get to know, because she's the one that pays him, you know. But um, there's never there's never been a situation where you're not gonna get paid, or we're gonna go back on our word, which is what other events do, and they make it really hard for us to fight that reputation, you know, because all it takes is one event to not pay an athlete from a certain academy, and now
Spreads
those
like
guys, well,
wildfire.
yeah, well, now it's like, hey, those Tucson guys, you know,
Yeah.
and it's like, no, 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 that's those guys, you know, we're responsible, man. We pay our fighters. There's never been an issue with us not paying the events, you know, and like I said, man, I think that we, above everything, we're fans of the sport.
Yeah.
I want to see good matches. I want to see good fights. I want to see good athletes. I want to see them happy. I want to see them grow. I want their brand to grow. Um, and I think, like, you know, when I watch my little students, man, like I can't imagine what jujitsu will look like opportunity wise for those guys. You know, by the time I'm out, and by the time they're kind of
Yeah.
taking my
Well, it's
place.
changing, man, with the UFC picking it up now.
Yeah.
All these events like you're doing. I mean, it could be a professional sport, Olympic sport eventually, hopefully one day.
Yeah, I don't know if we want it in the Olympics, but we do want it to get to the point um, where it has a greater understanding. People have a greater understanding of the sport,
Yeah.
and becomes a little bit more commercial, and it's easier to understand what's happening. You know,
Yeah.
because I think, like, at the end of the day, it does still require an educated audience. You know,
Yeah.
for us to. I nerd out, man. I nerd out over a certain grip that a fighter was doing, you know, and I love a certain way that this guy was applying pressure during the entire match. To me, that's where I get my excitement from, right? But uh, but your entire audience is educated in that regard, you know, and so we need to keep educating. We need to keep putting jiu-jitsu in the forefront, and doing our best to educate people in the benefits of it, the value of it, and the techniques,
Yeah.
you know, because I think that's why it's so easy to sell other combat sports. You know, like everybody understands a punch and a kick.
Yeah.
You know, it requires no education from the audience. You know, but when you're setting up a loop choke 2 moves behind, where it looks like you're just on your knees and you're hugging the dude, and next thing you know, there's like a gator roll. That's number one, it's exciting if you know what you're doing, but it does, you're at the risk of losing the audience
Yeah.
if they're not educated. So
Well, educate the audience on this. Why is Honey Badger's match, and I think Kenny's going to, right?
no, Kenny's not competing.
Kenny, so
No.
I think so. Honey Badger, tell us why we need to tune in for the Honey Badger match and why that matchup is so great. Honey Badger talked about it when he was here last week. How
Yeah,
excited
man,
he is.
that's gonna be a crazy fight, man. So if you're gonna talk about that match, you also have to talk about his opponent Gerson, right?
Yes.
If you have never seen Gerson compete, do yourself a favor, go to YouTube, look him up. That dude is an incredible competitor, and I was a fan of him. I think as early as purple. I started watching him when he was a purple belt, and I was like, I was like, dude, you should be world renowned. That's how good that kid is. Um, and then on the other side, you have Freddie, whose nickname is the Honey Badger.
I finally figured out the story behind that.
Yeah, where he like got choked out and they woke up and then kept
Yeah.
fighting. Dude, I'll give you a story about Freddie, man. When Freddie started training with us, he did there was a tournament up in Phoenix, and the tournament, the way they set up the mats, they had metal barriers too close to the mats. Just kind of like your audience barrier,
Yeah.
but instead of being plastic, they were metal. And Freddie was having an incredible hard match, and he's getting swept. So he's passing the guy's guard, and he's getting swept, and his hands are caught, his feet are caught, his face is free.
Oh,
Exactly. So as every good grappler has made that decision, Freddie goes, "My hands are busy. You know what's free to block the sweep? My face." So the dude, he fought the sweep as hard as he could, and Freddie ended up blocking the sweep by ramming his face into the metal barrier. And it was scary, man. He was like, "Boom," and then
he
they,
kept going, right?
dude, they stopped it. They brought everybody in. They called medical, and they're looking at him, and his eyes are doing this. But if you know Freddie, you can't tell. He's just an intense human being, man.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at him, and I'm like, "Freddie, you good?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, I think so. What happened?" I go, "Just okay, man." But no, he went and he finished that match and he won. But that's the kind of competitor you're gonna have, man. And Freddie has gotten so good, man. I haven't had the pleasure with him. I haven't had the pleasure to roll with him, in a while. I think maybe about 6 months ago. But dude, his pressure passing, his speed, his agility, his ability to create chaos in a match, and I think that's what's going to be the key for him. I think the key for Freddie to win that match is to keep it chaotic. As long as there's chaos, Freddie's thriving, and I think Gerson is gonna have to work on trying to control the pace of that match. Which what we're talking about is we're trying to control a tornado,
Yeah.
and that's gonna be a challenge. But I'm super excited for that match. Um, I'm excited that all of the matches, Philip Olsen versus Robert Clark.
Give us a little breakdown on that. That way we can let the fans know about that too.
So Philip Olsen, incredible competitor. He's one of the head instructors for Legacy Academy on Stone. And he's very knowledgeable, man. He's probably one of the guys that started leading the knowledge in Tucson or in Arizona as far as those dangerous leg locks,
Yeah.
and just started getting really, really, really good at them. And he's got a reputation for knowing how to get to those feet, man. And if he grabs your feet, the match is almost over. And then you have Robert Clark, who has competed at last warrior standing from white belt all the way to black belt. And you have Robert, who has won Pan Americans, U.S. Nationals, and World Championships at every belt. You know, so and then before he got promoted to black, he won the title. He won the Nogi title last warrior standing at brown,
Oh shoot.
and then he got promoted to black. So you have two very highly decorated competitors going at it, man, and it's gonna be a beautiful fight. I'm excited to see it, and I can't pick. It wouldn't be right to
Yeah, you
say.
can't pick. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna tell you who to
yeah, I
pick. I just
can't.
wanted you to have the
Yeah,
breakdown so we
yeah.
can.
Robert is my guy. He's
Yeah.
my student. But I'm excited for that match. I'm excited for that match, and I'm excited to again, man. Like, I'm a fan of this guys. I'm a fan of Philip Olsen. I'm a fan of Robert Clark. I'm a fan of Gerson.
Yeah.
Um,
How many title fights do you have going in this one?
we have just one, and it's gonna be Matt Garcia, and I can't remember. We just put it together, and I'm sorry, the I don't have all the details on me, but Matt Garcia from Jay Pages fought Robert Clark for the Nogi title,
Yeah.
and that was a beautiful match, but he got caught and he lost, and Matt came back and put on a dominating performance right after. And the reason I picked Matt Garcia to fight for the title the first time around was I saw him at the state championship, at the ACBJJF, and when you saw the way he was performing on those mats, man, that was a thing of beauty, but that was scary. It
Wait,
was.
what was
He was
scary?
just good, man. He was just good and dominant, and there was something about the intensity that he was approaching the matches with at the state tournament. When I went up to Jay and I'm like, "Who's that?"
Yeah.
I wanted for the show. So we put it together, and even though he lost to Robert, I don't think that a match defines who you are as a competitor. And then there's something to be said about competing on a stage versus a tournament.
Yeah.
So it does get to people a little bit. Because when you're on that stage, it's number one, it's a giant mat space. The lights are on you, the music is playing, the audience is cheering, and it's just you. There's no hiding.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a fan of Matt, and he looked incredible in the last one. He won his last match, his last warrior standing. So we ended up giving him a title shot. We're still gonna have Oscar and Gabriel de los Santos. We're gonna have Gabriel do a rematch with Ryan Onate, also from Legacy, who is
Yeah.
a champion. But Ryan had to pull out, and we're gonna give him time to get everything squared away, and then come back and have his match with Gabriel. But
So that one's more than likely going to be in March.
yeah, that one for sure. If everything goes okay, that one's gonna be in March. But we have a great replacement for Gabriel, Pascal Rail. I hope that I'm not butchering his name too much, but he was, for those of you guys that know him or that have been around jiu-jitsu for a number of years, he was one of the top dominant competitors and students out of Undisputed.
Okay.
I can't remember how much competition he had, but then again, like I said, like I was telling you, like you build a reputation in your academy, and then that reputation gets spread around.
Yeah.
And
What kind of style does he have?
I haven't seen him compete in a while, man. But he's very funny because if you look at him, he he's kind of he has that I love books look to him.
Yeah.
And he's super nice, and he's got like this. The first thing you're greeted by is like his big old smile, and it's like he's very cordial and stuff. But when he turns it on, man, like the dude wrestles, the dude passes, the dude sweeps. The guy gets after it, and the guy, he can do it all. He's good on top, he's good on bottom. I don't think there's anything where you can say you can expect this from him. I think you can expect that he's going to go at Gabriel, and Gabriel's going to go at him, and it's going to be a beautiful match. And that match, it's going to be an 8-minute match, because Gabriel was going to have a 10-minute match with Ryan, but with Ryan out, we were at risk of losing Gabriel as a competitor for this one, but Pascal stepped in, and they both agreed to an 8-minute match. So I'm very excited, man. That match is gonna be so good. So, like I said, it's gonna be very exciting.
Yeah. We're
Um,
we're we're really excited to be there, giving interviews, doing play-by-play analysis for you guys.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
I'm excited to have you guys there. I'm excited for you guys to put on the show, and to put our show in your platform, and just continue to grow it. Just continue to grow and continue to bring jiu-jitsu to the masses, and more than anything, like I said, it's like I think you guys are going to do an interview with the fighters.
Yeah, so
Um,
that's the plan. Bringing people on, like we're gonna bring in Aaron next week. Just keep getting
nice.
more guys in, sitting them down.
Yeah.
Have Carlo in eventually. Just guys that we have connections to. Bring them here.
Aaron
Give 'em-
Botello, you're gonna have Aaron?
yeah,
Yes, that's another one, man.
that's another good
I'm
story.
so excited
Let's
to.
talk about that match real quick
Okay.
before.
Yeah, he's fighting this gentleman from and this gentleman from Insurgent. I think I'm hopefully I'm pronouncing the name. But man, those matches gonna be it's gonna be really really good because um, I used to roll with Darren back in the day, and as little as he is, he's not a big dude. He's like 160, 170, something like that.
Yeah,
Man, he's strong. He's strong, and he's very. When he starts competing, man, when he turns it on, he's hard to deal with, man. So I'm excited. He has not competed in a while. Morgan Bax is his opponent from Insurgent, and Morgan has a really sneaky game, man. He looks like he's not working really hard until next thing you know is like you're in some sort of trap and you're fighting for your life. So I think Morgan does like a really good job of luring people in and then catching them in something. But I'm excited. I'm excited to watch those guys compete. Like I said, I know Aaron for a long, long time, so I'm honored that he's choosing Last Warrior Standing as his comeback
yeah, it's
event.
been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while for him, man. But I always I coached him at a couple tournaments up in Phoenix when he was like blue belt or something like that.
Yeah,
And man, he was incredible, man.
yeah.
It was always exciting.
He's another guy with a great story, so I look forward to getting into that with him.
Yeah.
You keep bringing up Brenda, that none of this could be possible without her. Talk a little bit how important she's been to you as a support system and to this event.
Man. Well, I think that on a personal level, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. Both alive and where I am as a person. Um, you know, I don't have the greatest origin story. But I think that she saw something in me. As a young kid, like I met Brenda when I was 17 years old. So um, we would sit there and just share stories of our ambitions for life and what we wanted to accomplish, even if it didn't have a name to it yet. I think both of us wanted to be good people, and we wanted to achieve greatness, and have a beautiful life, with with a good story to share with the world. So um, she's everything to me, man. She's my ride or die, from day one. So as far as what she does for the show, man, she does everything. She's like I said, like she's if I'm ever in doubt of something that I know that I can run my ideas through her in one of the things that why we work so well as a couple, and so well as business partners, because I think that that's a different dynamic of the relationship, right? It's like not just lovers or husband and wife, but business partners. Is that she's not afraid to say no, and she's not afraid to disagree with my point of view, regardless of how strong I might feel about it, regardless of how set I might be on that decision. If she has, if she has an opposing point of view, she'll present it very patiently and elegantly, and she'll walk me through why my decision or my vision might not be the best. Um, but I think like she has this thing where she says, okay, like I don't think that whenever we talk or we have a discussion, it's not about winning the argument. It's about like as your dad says, I think it's about reaching the highest level possible of a decision. And your dad has this thing. He goes, this is the right answer, but then what's the righteous answer? The
Yeah,
right answer is easy, right? And the righteous answer, it's the hard one. And I think that's through a lot of love and patience and space and then unity and then love. I think that we've achieved a version of it, and then we continue to achieve it. Um, but we still have a lot of history to write together. We're moving Damio. We're moving to a giant 5,400 square foot facility.
Oh shit! I didn't even know about that one, man. When's this happening? Congrats.
Thank you. We're it's yeah, it's like 5,400 square feet. It's up on Thorndale and like Hardy area, and we it's a brand new building. So right now it's just this beautiful giant box. It has no AC,
Yeah.
it has no electricity, it has no bathrooms. So a lot of it's being constructed right now. It's being developed. We met with the that this was the first one for me. We met with the architect to talk about where
Yeah.
you want it, where you want certain things, and that was a unique experience of we've had Damir for 15 years, and we've been in the same plaza. So a lot of it is just, excuse me, a lot of it is just um, this is what you get, because
Yeah.
this is the way the building looks, and there's a way the way building has looked for 30 years. But this is our first time, my first time as a business owner, where I go, oh man, I get to decide where the bathroom's gonna go, where the closet's gonna go. So we're gonna have a giant mat area. We're gonna have the kickboxing area. We're gonna have a dedicated workout area for our athletes. We're gonna have bigger space for our parents and students to come and sit and watch practice. And yeah, man, I just want it to be um, the premier training facility, and just continue to build champions. We have a legacy and a history of creating, Pan Americans champions, national champions,
World champions too.
world champions. Yeah, so LWS champions, state champions, Naga champions. We have a history of it. We have a legacy of it, and I look forward to continue doing that. With Brenda doing her thing over there with the women's program and the 6 a.m. program, which is a killer group of people. First of all, you got to be a psychopath to train at 6 a.m. But my respects to you. But no, she's we and then obviously our support and staff, Adamio. Our assistant instructors are the best. We couldn't do it without them, and it's just beyond what those guys do for us on the mats. It's a family, and it's an incredible support group, and there's a friendship, and there's an honest love that we have for one another. From for every single one of our assistant instructors and our students that believe in our views, that believe in our goals, and that are dying to achieve things. We tell them they can, and they believe it, and then we're like, hey, this is the system to follow, and they do it, and it's beautiful, man. It's there's not a day where that goes by without us realizing how blessed we are. And
It's incredible. 'Cause I remember your first gym,
yeah,
and where it was, and now going to the building you are going now, seeing Last Word Standing, starting from a gym to being in an awesome building, awesome venue. It's awesome seeing how you guys are growing so much,
thank you, man.
and
Thank
I
you.
really love the idea we get to be a part of this journey. Right before we take off, brother, if you want to look at that camera right there and let everyone know why they need to buy tickets to Last Word Standing, August 9th, and why they need to show up and fill those seats.
Uh this is it, man. Last word standing. This is the last show of the year. We won't be back till March of next year. This is the greatest card we've ever had to date. And I know that, it's easier to say that every time you have a card, but I'm telling you, go to our social media, go to our Facebook, go to Instagram, go to TikTok, watch our posters, watch the card, go to YouTube and watch previous fights, and you'll see the quality of the show that we put in. Your support helps Jiu-Jitsu grow, and you won't regret it. Like I said, bring the family, bring the kids. The music gets loud, the fights get amazing. So it's gonna be a beautiful day overall, and then you're in the heart of downtown Tucson. So afterwards, go party.
Yeah, hey, go show up, Cobra, High Wire, whatever those gyms are, or whatever those bars are. Those are always fun.
Jesus.
Hey, all right. Hey, thank you guys for watching. People watching live on Instagram, we're gonna be back in 5 minutes. We got Toby from Tucson Turf coming in, which is gonna be a great interview. We had the BMFs in, Manny and Brenda from Daimyo. Make sure you go check them out. The Last Warrior Standing, August 9th. We'll be there doing some interviews. See you guys on the next one.
We are Jet Sports Training, where our mission is to cultivate champions. This is where athletes come to get faster and everyday people come to change their lives. This is not a gym, but a community. Come get jetted.
About to take off in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lot of y'all doubted on me. Now they like, wow, look how far you go. Legendary like all my idols, coming for it all, and I can't wait. Success just called and I got me a date, so I grab my ambitions and I'm on my way. Cross the wrong line and it's bad news. Might get burnt like a candle. We too hot to handle. World at my feet like a sandal. I only move when I play to your moves could get canceled.
Hey guys, I gotta tell you about one of the best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu places out there, Nogales Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Make sure you go check them out if you're down in Nogales and say what's up to my homie Andy Behrens.